It's customary every Lag Bomer we say some Torah over from Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, and then to give some kind of inspiring message to get us through the springtime. And we know that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was the author of the Zohar. So I just want to read to you a few lines from the Zohar where it talks about the last day of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's life. He left the world on Lag Bomer. And there's a pasuk in Tehillim that says, Kisham tziva Hashem es habracha, because there Hashem gave the blessing. From the mountains of Hermon, Hashem gave the blessing, Chaim ad holam, life forever. So, Amar Rabbi Abba says, Rabbi Abba is giving us the narrative of the last day of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's life. He says, Lo siyam botzina kadisha l'meimer Chaim. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he started the pasuk, this pasuk I just said, Kisham tziva Hashem es habracha, because there Hashem commanded the bracha. So the great holy light, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he started the pasuk, but v'lo siyam l'meimer Chaim, he couldn't finish the pasuk. He didn't finish the pasuk. He came to the word Chaim, he couldn't say the word Chaim, life. Ad ashtachach umili, that his words were held back. And Rabbi Abba, the student, says, V'ana kasavna, I was writing the words that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was saying, Savarna l'michta tvei, I wanted to write more. V'lo shama, I didn't hear anything. V'lo zakif narration, and I couldn't lift up my head. The Nahura Havisagi, because the light was like so abundant, emanating from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, like that fire that you see. That's one of the reasons we light a torch. We light the fire. We couldn't even look at his face. To the point where we were shaking and trembling. And then Shamana Kol Gakari V'Amar, we heard a voice, an angelic voice coming in and saying, Orech Yamim Ushnos Chaim Yosivalach, quoting a verse in Mishlei saying we should give him more years, he should live longer. And Shamana Kalach Rana, we heard another voice, quoting the verse of Psalm saying, Chaim Shal Mimcha, V'Nasakalo, he already asked for years. There's a time he was deathly ill before and he was supposed to die, and he was already given more years. Orech Yamim Lo V'Ed, can the guy live forever? He already survived a very deathly experience. So I guess it's meant not to be. So Kol Hahu Yoma Afsik Eishamim Besa, that whole day of Lag Bomer, the fire did not stop from his house. There's nobody could come near that. They weren't able to approach it. The fire was surrounding the whole day. I fell on the ground and I screamed out. And Basar the Ozal Eisha, when the fire went out, the holy light became the holiest of holies. Distalak min almahi, he left the world. Isatet, he was covered up in his talus. Shachiv al yamine, was resting on his right side. Va'an pui chaykhin, and his face was smiling. Shimon Bar Yochai left the world, leaning on his right, his face was smiling. That's so esoteric, we have no idea exactly what this means. Come Rabbi Elazar Bray, his son Rabbi Elazar got up, v'natal yadi v'nashik, he washed his hand and kissed his father. V'anoi, me, Rabbi Abba says, Lachichna afra detchatzchus ragloi, I licked the dirt that was on his feet. And this was the closing moments of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's life. So he wanted to finish a pasuk. The pasuk was Kisham tziva Hashem es habracha, because there Hashem has commanded the bracha. But the words Chaim ad olam, life forever, he didn't finish it. So the question is, so what's the message of that, and how are we meant to finish that pasuk? How do we finish that pasuk? And also in many of the communities, they sing a special song about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. One day we'll learn it, God willing, one day. Sephardi tune. But one of the refrains says, Bar Yochai, Asher Yeladetecha, Bar Yochai, fortunate the one who gave birth to you. Ashrei ha'am heim lomdecha, fortunate the ones who learn your holy Torah. Va'ashrei ha'omdim al sodecha, and fortunate are those who have plumbed the depths of your sod, of your secrets, of the hidden Torah. Levushe choshen urech v'tumecha, enclosed in priestly garments. So the second question is, it seems that most of us are very unfortunate because we have not been omdim al sodecha. We don't know the depths of the mysteries of Rishon Bar Yochai. So how do we understand this? We want to be always unfortunate people. So the great holy works say the following. They say, the whole idea of mysticism, it's called sod. It's called sod. Sod means a secret. In Judaic literature, it's called what we have nigla, the revealed Torah, which simply we look at as the Chumash, the Navi, the Gemara, the Mishnayos, the revealed, and the nistar, the hidden. The whole idea of Rishon Bar Yochai is the hidden Torah, the nistar, the sod, the secrets. So, unfortunately, those who know the secrets. So, where do we fit in? So the Hasidic Sforim say that there's two types of secrets in the world. One type of secret is where you know some exciting news, and it's not time to tell everyone about it. And you know what a secret is. A secret is when you tell it to one person at a time. Right? That's what a secret is. Don't tell everybody. And then you go to the next one, and the next one. Right? That's a Jewish secret, right? Don't tell them that Melanie's getting engaged. Not official yet. No, don't tell anybody, right? So by the time they knew it, the whole city knew it was gone. That was a secret, right? So that's one kind of a secret. When the time comes, you will tell it to others. So we call that a secret. But that's not a real secret. A real secret is a secret that you can never tell. That's what a real sod is, a secret. For example, the love that you have for another person. A husband and wife who deeply love each other. And you can say to your spouse you love them. You can go to the store and find a card that says the words for you. You can, do Cyrano de Bergerac and find the guy who will know how to express all the love that's there. And no matter how much you say, you have not violated the secret. You have not really expressed the real deep love that's there. It's a secret that never can be told. Just like for somebody who ate a delicious steak and is trying to describe it to a person who has no taste. And no matter what they say, it'll never be revealed to the person who never tasted it. So you have the secret that's really only a little bit of a secret. And then you have the deepest of the deepest secrets. Ashrei ha'omdim al sodecha, fortunate are those who have come to see your secrets. Where do we stand? So the rabbis say you can take a pasuk in the Torah. You could read a verse, a simple verse in the Torah that is what's called the nigla, the revealed. But you could be reading a verse of the Torah, and if you're immersed in that verse, and you feel that those words are penetrating inside you, then you are connected to the deepest secret of the Torah. If your heart is connected to those words, then that really is, even if it looks revealed to you, those are psukim in the Torah, verse in the Torah, that's the most revealed of revealed. But when you look at those words, and those words are not coming in through the brain, but they're coming in through the heart, then what you really are learning is the deepest secrets. And on the other end, you have another person who could be learning the most complicated Zohar and giving you the most brilliant analysis of what Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai meant, but it's only penetrating the guy's mind. That he hasn't even begun to get to the assault of the secret. His mind may be connected, but the learning is really just revealed learning. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a single person, and a single person has decided to write an encyclopedia on the topic of love. And he spent 25 years researching the topic, doing all the historical analysis of this. He writes many sections, it's 25 volumes. First there's Hilchos love, the laws of love, right? Then there's the Hashkafa of love, the foundation, the philosophy of love. Then there's the Chasidus of love. Then there's stories of love. It's like unbelievable. And he's the expert on love. And he's sending it to Art Scroll. It's ready to get published. And 2 days before the manuscript's going to be submitted, he happens to be introduced to a very wonderful young lady. And for the first time in his life, he really falls in love with somebody. For the first time in his life, he met true love. Now, what can we say? That until that day, but what about the encyclopedia he wrote? The encyclopedia he wrote was about love, was about the concept of love. But now he really feels love. And now he'll look back at the manuscript that he took years to write. And he now begins to read what he wrote, and he feels humiliated. He feels embarrassed. He says, I thought I knew what I was writing. Right? That manuscript now to him is niglet. It's superficial. It's external. All those years, you see, he was attached to what? He was just reading the concept of love. But he never was attached to a person in his life to really feel what love is. And now for the first time, he and the concept of love have become one. And now if he would be writing on the topic, he would be writing about love, but he is the essence of love. You understand the difference? And that's the difference in that analogy, that the nigla, the revealed, would be the 25 volumes of love. It's an artificial understanding of love. But what's the nishter? What's the hidden? What's the mystical part? It's the feelings he has for this woman that he can't even describe to anybody. So say the Hasidic form that this is the same thing with Hashem. Same thing, our relationship with Hashem. A person can write many books on the subject of God. The person can make many speeches about God. But it could very well be that he and God are two separate realities. Because he really never tasted Hashem. He doesn't have the slightest connection to the sod, to the secret. But eventually, maybe one day, if he comes to reach a state of dveikus, of attaching himself to Hashem, and feeling at one with Hashem, so then that which was a concept of Hashem, he can now, instead of talking about God, he can feel Hashem. And that is really what Sod is. That's really what the deepest secrets of the Torah are about. The Kosher Maggid relates, we just had last week Pesach Sheni. Pesach Sheni, the second Pesach, was if somebody couldn't make it to bring his Paschal offering on the regular Pesach, he has a second chance. And the simple reason is because he was tameh, he was impure. Well, let's see what the Torah writes. The Torah says, Ish, a person, kiyeh tameh l'nefesh. If he became impure, he touched a dead body. Oh, v'derech rechoka. Or he was far away. So you figure, what's far away? Well, Yerushalayim is where you bring the Korban Pesach. Mistama, he was in Canada. Mistama is far away. He couldn't make it. He missed the last flight to Israel on Erev Pesach. He was far away. He couldn't make it. But you look at Rashi over there on the word derech rechoka, far away. Rashi says no. Even if he was just standing outside of the entrance of the temple, that means far away. So what does that mean? So explains the Kosher Maggid. What does it mean when it means it says far away? He says, I'll read his words, it's one line. He says, Ratza loymar shaya rachok min Hashem yisparach. He was far away from Hashem. Ve'ni yochel lomar, and he's not able to say Baruch Atah, a blessing, any blessing. Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem eretz. Or Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shelo asani goy. Any bracha. He cannot say Baruch Atah kasher ish al re'ehu, like he would be talking to a person right next to him face to face. He says, he can't, when he make a bracha, when a person says Baruch Atah, are you making like Baruch Atah, like if Paul would be, Hashem. Baruch Atah. Wow. Baruch Atah. Blessed are you. Nice to meet you. Blessed are you. When we say Baruch Atah, are we saying Baruch Atah to a concept, a conceptual God? Or are we talking to the real deal? You're talking Mamish Hashem. And that's what the Kasher Shemagid is saying. It says when it comes to Pesach, and you have to bring a Korban Pesach. Do you hear how sincere a Jew has to be? He cannot bring the Korban Pesach. He's holy, he's ready, everything's to go, but he's honest with himself and he says, I'm far away from you, Hashem. That when you say Baruch Atah, I don't even feel that Hashem is even here. And that's called far away. That's called far away. And how often do you have spouses who they can't even say Baruch Atah as if they're talking to somebody there? They're married to a concept, but not married to a person. And they love the concept of being in love with a spouse. And they could talk all about it all day long. And they could talk about the love they have for their spouse. But there really is no love. They never felt any love for their spouse. When you say, I love you, are you saying that like you're really talking to somebody or not? And that's what he says, the person who can't bring the Korban Pesach. Another person can learn, if a person doesn't feel this Ishel Re'ehu, that he's talking to Hashem like he's talking to somebody else, then he is a derech rechoka. He's far away. Until he reaches that, then all the Torah he can know, all the Torah can know, it only is what Nigle, it's only revealed. Nigle comes from the same root as Golus, exile. You can know thousands of books of Talmud, but if Hashem is still a concept, it's all revealed, it's not hidden. On the other hand, a simple Jew who can say Tehillim for hours every day, and he can always say Atah, Atah, and he's saying Hashem, Hashem, I'm counting on you, and I know you can do it, and he's talking to him like he's talking to Hashem. And when he says the word Atah, there's such a sweetness in this Atah. He is closer. And that person is in the place of Sod. He's in the place of the deepest secrets. And he can't explain his feelings. Go explain the sweetness of Atah to somebody else. He can't explain to anybody else. He can't explain because it's a Sod. Oh, well, what do you mean you love God? Explain it. I can't explain it to you. What do you mean you're saying Atah? Where is it? I can't explain it to you. But I'm feeling it. It's real. And the scholar who talks about subjects of God, here's what he's talking about. And the scholar is dealing with revealed. And the ignorant person who loves Hashem, he already has the Sod. So this is what such a person, come back to what we said Bar Yochai, Ashrei Omdim Al Sodecha. Fortunate are those who are able to come to understand Rav Shimon Bar Yochai's Sod, the secret of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. What did Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai bring to Judaism? He brought that a person could spend his whole life learning the topic of God, and he still never felt God in his life. You could have people go to Shul and daven 3 times a day, 365 days a year. They could daven 70,000 prayers in a lifetime and not once talk to God. Not once talk to God. Learned his Talmud backwards and forwards. Knows every parsha Chumash. And never once talked to God. And what Rav Shimon Bar Yochai brought back, this idea that there's a clarity, that there's a God who exists. He's a living God. It's a real living God, and no one else can tell you that secret. And God is no longer an item, one of those listings in the, in the encyclopedia, an entry. An entry in the encyclopedia, but it's real. And then when you come to that part, then you can look back at over all the Torah you learned all your life, and you realize everything I learned was only revealed. And I never touched the Sod my whole life. And now when the person feels that he's 100% clear that he's standing before Hashem. We know Reb Levi Yitzchak of Barditchev, who started off as not a chassid, not a chassid. And he married into a very wealthy, prestigious, scholarly, non-chassidic home. And the plan was, Reb Levi Yitzchak was a genius, and the plan was he was going to be a great leader of the Jews in a non-chassidic world. And then what happened is he decided after a while he wanted to study Torah from the Mezritcher Maggid, which was the bastion of Chassidus. And the fellow was not happy at all. This was like he mamish felt like he went off the derech. he left Yiddishkeit. He went to the cult. And he comes back. He stays about 6 months, whatever. And the fellow is furious. And finally, Rabbi Yitzchak comes back. He says, "No, what did you learn already for 6 months by that rabbi?" So Rabbi said, "You know what I learned? I learned that there is a God." So the fellow says, "What? You learned that there is a God?" Yeah, Rivkala. He calls one of the Jewish ladies who's working in the kitchen. You know, the ignorant servant. "Rivkala, come here. Rivkala, is there a God?" "Yes, 100%. "Thank you. You can go back." Says, "Oh, spent 6 months old. Rivkala knows. What's going on over here?" So Levi Yitzchak says, "She says there is a God, but I know there is a God." That's the difference. And that's what we have to say 6 months. You have to say 6 months by the message of Magi, to know that there's a God, to know the soul. To not just say there's a God, but to feel that there's a God. That's what Rabbi Nachman says. Rabbi Nachman says that I know the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I can't tell it over to people. Nobody can tell over this feeling that they have. And it's based on one of the students of the Baal Shem Tov. It's all based on the following few words. He says the concept of love and fear of Hashem. He says you cannot explain it to your friend. You can't explain how love is in the heart, because Zen Nikra Niftar, that is called the hidden Torah. The love for Hashem in your heart is the hidden Torah. Umashaim Korim Niftar Chachmas HaKabbalah, and that which the world calls the hidden Torah, Kabbalah. He asks a question. He says, Heichu Niftar, how is that hidden? You open up a Zohar, is that hidden? Hello, Kol Misha Rotz Alum Rasem. You want to learn the book's there. Just go get the book. What do you mean it's hidden? And if he doesn't understand it, he's ignorant. Not that it's hidden. It's no different if he opens up a Chumash and can't translate a pasuk of Chumash. That's also a mystery to the guy. And the Chumash, you know, is not part of the Kabbalah. So he's saying, so what is this Kabbalah? What's this Kabbalah business? It has to be a hard book in a sense. It's nothing to do with a secret. He says, Elohim, he starts, what does it mean, the secrets? That the whole Zohar and the Arizal is based on. He says, Akol Geluyim al pi dveikus habor. It's all comes out only if you're attached to Hashem. He says, attachment to Hashem, that is the soul of all of Torah. And for this is what, and who brought that to the Jewish people? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Ashrei ha'omdim al sodecha, fortunate ones who came to your secret. To your secret, as Rabbi Aralach Chassid says, Ma HaKadosh Baruch Hu lakol, just like Hashem is for everybody, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is lakol, he's for everybody. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai brought to the Jewish people this message of a way of life to a people who were omdim me'rachok, who were standing so far away from Hashem. You know, you could go to Yerushalayim, you can go to the Kotel, and you see everyone with the photo ops. And you can't be any closer. You can't be any closer to the place of the holiest of holies. And they say, you know, make sure that I got the right page when I dive in to take the picture. And you know what? That's the farthest place away from Hashem on the planet. This Rochok. Because we're praying to a concept. If you're praying to Hashem, you're not taking any pictures. That's what we're living our lives. We go to Simchas and everybody's just got a camera in their hand taking pictures. Taking pictures of the concept. But you're not taking time to absorb the emotion and the depth of what it really is. And that's what Shimon Bar Yochai came to a world. If he would come today, he would get all the mechanical devices and he'd tell me to throw them away. To throw them away. Because it's a conceptual world. You can get onto Facebook and create false realities. And people have relationships with concepts. But not with people. But since it's modern technology, you have to do it. Because you have to have the modern technology. But the secret isn't how to know how to manipulate the new machines. The secret is how to learn to love people. And that, you still don't know how to sell that yet. There's nowhere you can find it. except in Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's Torah. So the depths of Torah isn't what we just call the Kabbalah. But every Jew who attaches himself to Hashem, you don't have to be the most brilliant Jew, but that is the soul, that's the deepest mysteries of the Torah. And you know, when you start to learn these Sforim, you start to take a Hasidic Sefer, Martin can relate to this, and you start, or you hear the classes, you listen to Bovavi for a few years, and we do another Sefer, and you start to realize after a year or two, you start saying, you know, I think it's all the same stuff. It's all the same stuff. It's the same stuff. The only difference is last week was Parshas Kedoshim and this week is Parshas Emor. But they keep talking about what? Feeling HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They keep talking about the same thing. So if you talk that way, that means you're very far away. You're the Derech Rechoka. You think it's the same thing all over. You know, you go to your spouse and feel that love. You're going to say, it's the same thing every week. It's the same thing every week. It's that unexplainable feeling. But that's the way it is. You know, unfortunately, people open up a Hasidic Sefer and say, well, do I have a good vort to say over at the Shabbos table? You know, marriage isn't a good vort to say over at the Shabbos table. It's the feeling. Every time you read a Sefer, say, it brings you back to what? It brings you back to Hashem. It brings you back to the arms of Hashem. It brings you back to Shabbos. What you're really supposed to do when you open up a Sefer like this, the Chavetz Chaim, or any great person who writes a Sefer, you're not there to read their intelligence. But when the Chavetz Chaim puts his pen down on a paper, or Rabbi Yitzchak puts his pen down on a paper, he is putting down the real feelings that he has for Hashem in the context of this week's Parsha. It's his connection to Hashem that he's putting down on paper. And what we're reading isn't the intellectually brilliant ideas which may be there, but it's how he puts his feelings. That's his sod that's on the paper. You know, the Mesritcher Magid, when he became famous, he had an old chavrus. The Mesritcher Magid was brilliant. He was one of the greatest students of the Pnei Yeshua. It was unbelievable genius. And then he parted from his chavrus, and the Mesritcher Magid became who he became, one of the leaders of the Hasidic movement. And many years later, he met up with his old learning partner. And they happened to get together, they were going to daven together in Shmon Esrei, davening in Minyan. And the Chavrusa davened, he finished, and Mesritcher Magid went on and 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 on. Unbelievable. So the Chavrusa turned and says, listen, I know all the kavanas of that Rizal. I know all the mystical stuff of that Rizal like you do. How come it takes you so long? So the Mesritcher Magid answered him. He says, my dear friend, you're now a successful businessman, correct? Yes. So, I'm going to ask you, go to the Leipzig Fair? Back to Leipzig, right? I don't know where it is, but there's always the fair in Leipzig. Right? Is it Germany? I don't know where it is.
I think it's Austria.
Whatever, Austria. So he says, you go to the Leipzig Fair? Sure. What do you do in the Leipzig Fair? He starts to describe what he does. He goes over to people, he buys, he sells, he this, he that. So the Mesritcher Magid says, I don't understand. Why do you go? Why do you go? Stay home and send a messenger. Sit in your home and send a messenger. Those guys, you don't understand business. It's not enough to know what's going on in Leipzig. You have to be there. So the Mesritcher Magid said, listen to what you said. It's not enough to know about prayer. You have to be there. And to be there takes a long time. To be there. Something a little more scholarly but very short. And the Gemara, those who learn Gemara now, when we come to a new point in the Gemara, say the words Ta Shema. Ta Shema means what? Come in here. Come in here. In the Zohar, it's not Ta Shema. It's not come in here. It's Ta Chazu. Come and see. The Talmud is revealed, so it's come and listen. But it's not just a question of listening, it's come and see it. And that's what Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai gave to simple people like us. He says, Tochazi, come and see. Look at Hashem. And that's what the pasuk that he wanted to finish. Kisham tziva Hashem es habracha. Kisham, because over there, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he took the God that was a concept to the world, to Jews, to observant Jews, and he made it real. Kisham, over there, he brought it to everybody. And he said, I can take you, that you can do it on your own now. And you can finish the pasuk. You can finish a pasuk of Chaim Ad Olam. You can live forever. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, he says, with my Sefer, with the Zohar, the Jewish people will get out of the Golus. What does Golus mean? Exile. Golus comes from Golui, revealed. The shallowness, the insensitivity, the conceptual Judaism. That is the real Golus that we are in, the conceptual Judaism. Redemption means being there. To reach that level of getting out of the Golus and being there. So let me close. And that we have to thank Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. That's when you look at that fire. Look at that fire. That's where your hearts have to be. Your hearts have to be on fire, like sand. It's not a concept. It's on fire. You're living the Jewish fire. It's part of you. That's so everybody who thinks Baruch Atah. We're going to down Mars. Mamas, did you talk to Hashem? What did you ask from Hashem? Say Baruch Atah. Then you know the soul. You know the secret. And that's really the secret of the Jewish people. The Jew who survives the Golus is the Jew who knows that soul. Because you only can make sacrifices for your religion. No one makes sacrifices for a concept. They make sacrifices for what's real. Let me close with this beautiful, very short story. This is the Kovna Ghetto in Europe during World War II. And it's where the Jews, 40,000 Jews, were put in this little area, the Kovna Ghetto. And by the time the war was over, nearly everybody got killed in that ghetto. And it was in the month of Cheshvan, and word went out that the next day they were going to make a selection, which means they round up as many people as they can and they get rid of them. Everybody in the ghetto knew that tomorrow it's going to be bad news. And there's nothing you can do. Anyway, that night there was a 12-year-old boy, Yitzchak, who was laying in bed and he was staring at the ceiling. His older brother's in the bed next to him. It's very quiet. They know that it's not going to be good tomorrow. And his brother asked him if he had seen the stars that night. He said, yes, and indeed it was beautiful. So the brother said, so let's say a special prayer that we should merit to see the sky tomorrow night too. And the brother listened to his prayer and he said, Amen. And he was very well aware this is going to be the last night of his life. So Yitzchak goes out of his bed. He wants to see his father. His father was learning Torah. Yitzchak was amazed at his father. Despite that impending doom, he was learning Torah like everything was okay. So Yitzchak's father noticing. He says, Yitzchak, what can I do for you? So he says, Tati, I'm scared. And Yitzchak leans his head against his father's shoulders. And his father says, don't be scared. Hashem will take care of this. And Yitzchak continues, says, Tati, I'm not afraid of dying tomorrow. I'm afraid that when I die, though, I'll come before the throne of glory and I will never have put on my tefillin. I'll be so shamed in front of the Rabbi Shalom that I'm only 12 years old. And I never put on tefillin. He says, I know I'm only 12 years old and 4 months, and I'm not obligated to put on tefillin. But I want at least to taste the special mitzvah. So Tati, I'm asking you, please, will you put my tefillin on me tomorrow morning at Shacharis? Will you do that for me, please? And tears are flowing down his father's face. He was so overwhelmed. He couldn't believe that that's the only thing that was worrying the son. And of course the father said he will. He kissed Yitzchak good night, sent him to bed. And Yitzchak couldn't sleep the whole night because he knew tomorrow he's going to put his tefillin on for the first and last time in his life. And when the sun rose the next morning, his father waked him up. He jumped out of bed. He had to get up very early to put it on. And he put his tefillin on for the first, and he thought it was the last time. Miraculously, although 14,000 people were killed that day, miraculously Yitzchak and his family were spared. And they lived to tell the story. So, this story I think really says that there is a big, you put on tefillin, you say, Baruch Atah Hashem. Blessed is you, Hashem, Master Universe commanded me to put on your tefillin. Nobody who's 12 years old jumps up to put on tefillin for a concept. And we have to kind of realize that every day we put on our tefillin, we should feel that tefillin should be like the first and last day of our life. And that's the tefillin you put on to somebody. It's a God that's a soul. And what's the secret of Jewish survival? It's this soul. It's this soul. How do you make sure your children aren't going to intermarry when God is not a concept? God is real. God's real in the house. How you talk to people. How you comport yourself. We talked about Kiddush Hashem on Shabbos. To really feel that Hashem is there. And without Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, we would not have this. Without him, we wouldn't have any of this Yiddishkeit. So let's thank him. Let's thank Rav Shimon. Go out. Daven Marv. And Daven Marv. Like the first and the last time in your life. To daven at the soul. And then we can all say that we too are Kabbalists. And then we can say, Ashrei, so fortunate are the people who have stood and understood these sodos. Ashrei ha'omdim al sodecha. We should all be zoche. So many of us have made so many changes in our lives. And those changes in our lives can only maintain themselves if it's in a soul. We should all be zoche to have this soul and Mirz Hashem to get out of the goals, to get out of the revealed superficial way of life. And with that will happen, the Mashiach will come, B'mheira v'yameinu.